Let's go to the capital, Kyiv, where Nick Spicer is standing by. Nick, can you explain the dynamic right now, the back and forth over Snake Island, as we heard there, and Russia's offensive in the Donbass grinding on?
Sure, Ben. Well, Snake Island, first off, is strategically irrelevant and symbolically hugely important for the Russians, it would appear. This is the island from which, at the beginning of the war, Ukrainian soldiers told a Russian warship to go do something to itself. They were captured. The warship was later sunk. It was the Moskva. It was the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. So this became very symbolic, that island. All of a sudden, Russian soldiers were deployed to it. They came under heavy Ukrainian fire, and ultimately they left the island on the 30th of June. And Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, said this was a symbolic gesture in order to facilitate the shipment of grain from the port of Odessa. But it's one step of about 10 that need to be taken before that happens. It just looked like it was an indefensible island. It's close to Bulgaria. So that messaging really from the Kremlin is to suggest there are only about 2 or 3 people allegedly killed, that, Russia is winning important symbolic victories, but strategically irrelevant. The rest of the war, as you just described, taking place in the east of the country, where the Ukrainians have repositioned themselves in order to defend Donetsk province, pretty much giving up on Luhansk, avoiding getting caught in the cauldron the Russians were trying to capture them within in order to capture soldiers or kill as many as possible. So taking up positions to defend the strategically important towns of Slovyansk in particular.
President Zelensky says heavy weapons from the West are now working at full capacity. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
Finally, we can feel that the Western artillery, the weapons we received from our partners, have started working very effectively. Their accuracy is exactly what is needed. Our defenders inflict very noticeable strikes on depots and other locations that are important for the occupiers' logistics, and this significantly reduces the offensive potential of the Russian army. Their losses will only increase every week, as will the difficulty of supplying them.
Nick, how much of a difference will these Western weapons make?
I think the Ukrainian president can be believed in this instance, because the new weapons that are coming in aren't as many as the Ukrainians have been asking for, but they're far more accurate to the weapons they've been using so far. The American-made HIMARS missile system is accurate to within 1 meter. The Russians and Ukrainians are using systems that are accurate to within 500 meters, which is to say that if the Ukrainians need to hit a big stash of howitzer shells, which is what they're targeting when they're talking about depots, they can take it out. And that's important because the Russians have been basically putting into practice Stalin's old dictum, quantity has a quality all of its own. So they've just been shelling and shelling and shelling indiscriminately, and that's how they've been able to advance. If you take out those weapon supplies, then it really puts the Russians on the back foot. Ben?
Nick Spicer there in Kyiv with an update on the war in Ukraine. Thank you.